Thank you for coming in. My name is Steve Garvin. I'm chair.
Stand by, please.
Hold on.
Stand by. Camera down, please, sir.
We've been waiting all night.
Everybody up here, hang on. Sorry.
As I was saying, I'm Steve Garvin, chairman of the Board of Trustees at Penn State. This is John Surma, vice chair of the Board of Trustees. I've asked, and the board has asked, John to head up all board activities on the current matters. John has agreed to undertake this challenge with the full confidence of the board. I'm now going to turn over the press conference to John.
Thank you, Steve. Can everyone hear me? I'm going to make some comments and then we'll take your questions. The past several days have been absolutely terrible for the entire Penn State community. But the outrage that we feel is nothing compared to the physical and psychological suffering that allegedly took place. The Penn State Board of Trustees tonight decided that it is in the best interests of the university to have a change in leadership to deal with the difficult issues that we are facing. The Board of Trustees and Graham Spanier have decided that effective immediately, Dr. Spanier is no longer president of the university. In addition, Joe Paterno is no longer the head football coach, effective immediately. These decisions were made after careful deliberations and in the best interests of the university as a whole. Penn State has always strived for honesty, integrity, and the highest moral standards in all of our activities. We promise you that we are committed to restoring public trust to our university. Now, before we take your questions, I'd like to remind you that we do not yet know all the facts, and there are many details that have yet to be worked out. Steve and I will now be available to answer as many questions as we can.
Who will coach on Saturday?
With respect to coaching matters, I can tell you that the acting president, Rod Erickson, and our acting athletic director, Mark Dearborn, who is here, have appointed Tom Bradley as the interim head coach.
What is Mike McQuarrie's status as coach at Penn State?
There's really nothing that we can say about that at this point. There's been no change in his status.
Sir, what was the driving reason behind the removal of Coach Paterno?
In consideration of all the facts and the difficulties that we are encountering during this time, it was the trustees' view that it was in the best interest, long-term interest of our university to make that change.
When did you talk?
I can only answer one at a time.
What did you learn in the last couple of days that you didn't already know because you made this decision today instead of a week or ago? Some of this information has been out there for a while.
The board deliberative process is, as it implies, a process that requires some time. There was information that we sought, although we don't know anything more about the actual details than the grand jury report, whatever you all write. We were working through the not entirely consistent processes of wanting to act swiftly and decisively, but also to be thorough and fair.
Sir.
And that resulted in these actions.
Sir, given the popularity of Coach Paterno on this campus, how difficult a decision was this for you and your colleagues to make?
Well, these decisions are never easy in any walk of life, and this one, for many reasons, including those you described, was difficult, but again, in the unanimous view of the trustees, was necessary for the long-term interest of the university.
Sir,
did you take any students into account?
Sir.
Coming to the school as president, can you confirm or deny those?
I have no basis to comment on that report, which I guess we found imaginative, but not anything we can comment on.
Did you take any students' opinions into account?
I can only
Then who will
Did you take any students' opinions into account?
As I mentioned, Rod Erickson, our distinguished provost, has agreed to act as interim president of the University of Fenton.
What was Coach
Sir, in the
Paterno's
board's mind,
reaction
should
to your
Coach
call?
Paterno, in the board's mind, should Coach Paterno have alerted the police when he first learned of the sexual abuse allegations in 2002?
I don't know that I could characterize the board's view on specific determinations like that. The view was a larger view of what was necessary to move the university in the right direction. The specific aspects of these terrible activities that occurred and the terrible damage that was done really remains to be established by whatever law enforcement investigations are yet underway, as well as the investigation by our own Board of Trustees Special Committee that we announced recently and provide more details on.
What was Coach Paterno's reaction to his termination?
It's really premature for us to comment on because we don't know what the actual facts and circumstances were. As I said, we've read the grand jury report, as I'm sure all of you have, and beyond that, there's very little information that's available beyond that, and we have to await the completion of multiple investigations.
When did you tell
When did
Coach
you
notify Mr. Paterno of this decision?
One at a time.
When did you
At
tell
what point
Coach
did you
Paterno?
notify Mr. Paterno?
That's more or less the same question. We made that notification earlier this evening.
What was his reaction?
That's a private discussion and rather not characterize. We made a notification, and that's really all we can say.
Did you
All
do
we
it
can
in
say.
person or over the phone?
I'd rather not characterize that either. I think we made a notification.
You let a man go that's been here for 46 years, and you won't tell us whether you told him over the phone or in person?
We did have a phone conversation. We were unable to find a way to get to do that in person without causing, we thought, greater distraction, and that was included.
Did you go to the courtesy to go to his house or talk to him in person?
After 60
There's
years?
really nothing we can comment on that. We did things we thought were best.
What's your reason for dismissing Coach Paterno now and leaving Tim Curley in administrative leave?
There's a number of matters that the board has to address during the course of the week. I'm not saying those are them, but there's a number of matters that over time will get resolved and dealt with.
Will Joe's son Jay still be on staff?
There's no change there at the moment. What happens in the long term is a different question.
What about Mike McCreary?
As I said, we're not aware of any change in his status, and there's really no more comment to make on that personnel matter.
What was the unanimous decision by the board?
Had a chance to say goodbye to Coach Paterno for this final home game for Easter. What do you say to students?
Well, I don't really want to get into what individuals think or not think. I would hope that our students, and we would hope that everyone who cares about Penn State, our 95,000 students, hundreds of thousands of alumni, the thousands of degrees which get awarded each year, our outreach for agriculture in every county of the Commonwealth. I would hope that everyone would agree that what we're doing is what we believe in our best judgment is in the best long-term interest of the university, which is much larger than athletic programs.
What do you say to people who think you're making him the fall guy?
Oh, I think people can believe what they wish, but I think the facts come out in the long term. We don't have them all right in front of us. No doubt from the additional facts which shed light on things. I know
When you say this would be a full investigation, at the same time, what would you say to those who argue that this is a rush to judgment? There has not been a full investigation, so how would you reach this conclusion at this time?
As I said, these are judgments and decisions and balances that boards have to make with thoughtful deliberation. In our view, things have reached a point where a change is necessary, and we thought it was the best of the long-term interest of the university.
So you're aware that because of the Department of Education investigation into what the larger
I am just briefly aware of the matter that you just described. And have no information on it, no real knowledge of it. If there's another investigation by a federal authority, of course, the university will cooperate in every means possible. And beyond that, we have no knowledge of it. And I think as we indicated in our statement yesterday, we intend to be as responsible as we can and make whatever changes are necessary to ensure that we have the highest standard of conduct.
Has Coach Paterno been told he can go to the game on Saturday or just stay away?
We did not discuss that matter.
We've talked to a lot of students over the past few days. What do you want to say to those who think that the university and board of trustees should handle this matter for them?
Well, we handled it the best way we could with the information we had and with the time that was available to us. Again, wanting to be decisive, but also wanting to be thorough and appropriately deliberate. Others are welcome to their own opinion. We believe we did the best job we could.
Sir, can you define the term? Can you define the term? Can you define the term "best interests of the university" regarding Coach Paterno?
Not really, not for an individual. I think I'll leave it all to you to describe the
You're
message.
making-
I would say, though, that the current situation we are in, which, by all accounts, has its roots in a certain organization of the university, the situation we are in today is not in the university's best interest.
What would be the harm in letting the coach continue to the end of the season? What's to be gained? Tell me specifically.
Well, I'm sure I can tell you specifically. In our view, we thought a change now was necessary to enable or to allow this process to continue. We thought it was going to be damaging the university, and therefore we took the action we did.
When does the search for a permanent successor begin?
One at a time.
Beyond personnel changes, are there cultural changes that need to happen at the university, and what's the board going to do about it?
I don't know that I could, we don't know that we can put our hands on cultural changes per se. I think our culture on the whole of Penn State is exemplary and very good in this instance. Obviously, it's not. I think we have a good culture. To the extent we need to improve it in certain areas, we will put our full energy into doing that, and that should be, I hope, the result of the investigation that we conducted.
But does the board believe there was any wrong done here? And if so,
The board doesn't know that, and no one else does either. This is very early in the process. The facts aren't established. The board doesn't really know that any more than anyone else does. And we will, of course, respect the law enforcement process that's still underway.
But you know the processes that were taken. You know the steps that the people involved took, whom they told. Do you think that was enough? Do you think more authorities should have been alerted?
I don't know that we know all the steps that were taken. I don't think we know all the activities that took place. I'm sure that we don't know that.
You know who Curley told.
There's an investigation that will be undertaken by our university and our special committee with all the investigative resources they need. There are law enforcement activities still underway, so we are certainly not rushing to judgment that suggests that we know all the facts. We don't.
So you don't rush to judgment when it comes to facts, but you rush to judgment when it comes to dismissing Coach Paterno.
Question or statement?
I'm asking you. Did you rush to judgment by dismissing Coach Paterno?
No, I think we had enough information to make.
How do you defend calling him?
Then the public knows about Coach Paterno's involvement in this case? To justify the board's action?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
This was a collective judgment that we weighed all the factors and what we thought we needed to do to move the university in the right direction. There's really not more I can say about that. Coach Bradley was informed by our acting athletic director and the provost. I don't know how that happened. I think it may have been.
John, with respect to the previous
One at a time.
John, with respect to the previous answers that you've given, why now?
Well, today was the day that our board felt we had sufficient deliberation and sufficient. I'm sorry?
Did Coach Paterno know about the
I have no idea.
Sir, are you aware about the number of students that were marching back and forth on campus when they thought there was a possibility of this happening? And therefore, what are you concerned about happening tonight?
I think we have to do what we think was the right thing to do in the circumstances. There may be actions and reactions that flow from that. We can't make our decisions based on what they happen to do. Right. I'm confident that the university and our students will be able to talk about it.
Did the police inform about this?
How close was the vote?
Our administration is very adept at handling these sorts of affairs, and I'm sure they're prepared for whatever eventualities there may be.
How close was the vote to fire Coach Paterno?
It was unanimous. Can you give us an idea of the vote? Was it unanimous?
Unanimous.
John, to what extent was the board caught off guard by Coach Paterno's retirement announcement? Did that influence at all the step?
I don't know what off guard means. It was a piece of information that arose at the point that didn't have, I don't think, any effect on what we did tonight. So, there's not much I can say about that.
Was this in the works yesterday as the New York Times reported? Was there a plan being formulated yesterday?
Well, we've been discussing the matters at issue and our response to them on a very regular basis and bank on the phone in person since this occurred.
Specifically with regard to Paterno?
Well, I think the entire suite of activities has been under discussion, and certainly that was among those. Tonight is where we know.
How does allowing things early serve the best interests of you personally?
I think I already answered that once, but I thought I did. If I didn't, I apologize. There are a number of things that we have to attend to that flow from all the things that have happened, and other things.
Such as?
What did Joe Paterno have done originally to avoid this outcome?
I have no idea how to answer that question.
The Department of Education has launched an investigation into this university because of their failure to comply with federal laws that govern the reporting of abuse. Did that factor into your decision at all?
No, I think, no, to be honest, that report came in during our discussions, and I've not even read it. All I saw was a brief headline. I'm sure some other in the administration are focused on it. As I said, any investigation, of course, we comply with.
John, what was Coach Paterno's reaction?
I'm sorry?
What was Coach Paterno's reaction?
I don't want to characterize that. That's not really fair for me.
Right.
I think it's really unforgivable.
Who made the call for
Guaranteed.
Who made the call? Staff remain intact for this next rest of the game?
We left the ambassador.
I don't know any reason not, but I don't really know how to comment on that. It's a matter that would lead to the administration, the acting president, the acting athletic director. So if there's anything to say about that, you hear from them.
Who made the call to Coach Paterno?
The chairman and I did, Mr. Carpenter.
Can you please summarize what you think Joe did wrong and what the...
No, I can't characterize individual behavior that I'm intended to. That would be totally unfair for me and suggest that we know what we did.
How do you justify the firing to two people who asked for justification?
You can explain why it's fired.
We thought that because of the difficulties that have engulfed our university, and they are grave, as you all documented, that it was necessary for us to make a change in the leadership.
What did you say?
Set a course for the direction. And I'm not about to try to attach that to specific reasons, issues. That's the board's collective judgment, and that's what we did. There's really nothing more than that.
Okay, that's great.
Maybe there should be a new board. Rioting downtown. Are you aware of students are rioting downtown on Queens right now?
Considering the
Have you considered changing the board?
There is a process for trusteeship. You can read about it on the trustee website.
Is Joe Paterno subject to answers? But people are asking you for justification for tonight firing Coach Paterno instead of letting him finish out his career with a little bit of
I told you all I can tell you about that.
Is Coach Paterno subject to compensation?
Tell us about that.
Is Coach Paterno subject to compensation?
Is he what?
Subject to compensation for this?
Compensation.
For his dismissal?
Will he be paid for the remainder of the season?
Is he fired or is he...
There are some contractual arrangements that be respected. Well, those details have not all been addressed, and I'm really reluctant to speak to them because I don't have the details at hand, and as a matter of courtesy, we ought to let the parties and their representatives work those things out. But there will be some.
Is we're concerned...
Are you considering any other personnel decisions?
On our immediate agenda tonight, no. These were the matters we were focused on.
What do you think?
We're sort of answering the same questions again.
What do you think Coach Paterno has meant to this university?
I think you can all make your own determination.
We want you to make your own.
Yeah. No. What does the trustees have a statement on what they think Joe Paterno has meant to this
He's
university?
made a great contribution to the university. We all agree with that.
Will you meet tomorrow? You plan to meet tomorrow, and if you have a meeting scheduled for Friday, will you also meet tomorrow?
We have, I think, a number of discussion times scheduled. Whether we use them or not, we just don't have that all figured out yet. Things move quite quickly.
Is the university still paying the legal fees of Curley and Schultz?
To what degree did that enter into your discussions? The idea of this guy doing 50 years worth of good deeds here. To what degree did all of that figure into your calculations this evening?
I think we tried to consider everything that we had at our disposal. I'm advised by my colleague that there are two more questions.
Sir, is the university still paying the legal fees of Curley and Schultz?
Tell me what's going on and then give me a call, okay?
I guess I don't know the answer to that right now.
It's in the best interest to pay their legal fees.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that either.
Okay, why don't you go down there? Okay, thanks, bye. Okay, bye.
No, we received, we saw information, opinions, resources, some voluntarily, but no, our deliberations were always the board and just the board, and our decisions are the board and just the board.
What do you say to the perception?
Last question.
What do you say to the perception that the board has been gunning for Coach Paterno since '04 and this provided perfect opportunity for his?
I have absolutely no knowledge of what you're talking about.
I'm told by
All right, let's go.
the team keep losing,
No
so that
idea.
they could fire.